everyone, I'm Alex and I'm the hands behind Lovecraft Crochet. My plushies are for the anxious, depressed, autistic, and neurodivergent. Small enough to travel in a purse, backpack, diaper bag, or even your pocket. You can check out my Facebook page or TikTok to see what patterns are available and stay tuned for the new ones coming out. I also make hats, scarves, blankets, and dice bags for the tabletop gamer or dice goblin in your life. Feel free to order through the page, TikTok DMs, or via email at love.craft.crochet@gmail.com. Now, on to the segment.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised.
Love. Love will keep us together. Think of me, babe, whenever some sweet-talking girl comes along. Singing a song. Don't mess around. You just gotta be strong. Welcome to, well, not the final episode in the Charles Manson series. We finished that, and then we went to Epstein, and now we're here again. It was going to be, but Sam decided, it'll be fun if we don't. I am AJ Carey, the voice of my stoner sister's manic writing. My sister being Sam Rossi.
Yellers!
She's currently having a bit of a wind-down time because Epstein really pissed her off. If you want to see how truly it pissed her off, check out our Patreon for the unedited clips of that. Holy God. We have talked about all the known murders and crimes connected to the Manson family before, except for one. This one is about the attempted assassination of Gerald Ford. It is truly an interesting roller coaster of a case. August 9th, 1974. Richard Nixon resigns. Up next to bat is the only president and vice president never elected into office. For those that didn't know, the line of succession for the United States presidency goes like this. You have the president, he's elected. Then the vice president, who's also elected. They are elected into position. However, if the VP resigns, the minority leader becomes VP. If the president resigns, killed, or is incapacitated, the VP steps up. Does that make sense? Good! On October 10th, 1973, Spiro Agnew resigns. Congress confirms Gerald Ford as VP on December 6th. This was the first time the 25th Amendment was ever implemented. Gerald Ford then became president when Nixon resigned. Now that we have a history lesson, why does that matter? We'll get into that. I truly hope that mattered and was not just you ranting, you just wanting to flex some, hey, did you know that if the vice president and president just so happen to be assassinated passively, then the speaker, oh shit, who the hell's the speaker? Who the hell's the minority leader right now? Nancy Pelosi? No, she's
minority leader, I think, is Chucky Boy.
Chuck Schumer?
I think so, yes.
Can someone can we get that what's that Kiefer Sutherland show?
24?
No, the one where he's
the
secretary of
designated survivor.
Yeah. Can we get a designated survivor thing? Who the hell's the Secretary of Agriculture? Do we have a Secretary of Agriculture? Does Trump know what agriculture means?
Good question. Let's read more about Gerald Ford and his assassination.
No, you got to bitch about Trump. I want to bitch about Trump. Is this real life? Is this just fantasy? How high were you, sissy? Were you
good.
On Manson level highs here?
I tried so
hard. You got
hard.
that mescaline finally?
No, I did the Hemingway method.
Drunk as shit and high as a kite?
Basically.
Did you go to Cuba?
I wish.
Is this real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide? No escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies, and see... This is not just a quote, this is you fucking just doing the first full fucking verse. Yes, all hail the god that is Freddie Mercury, but Sam!
I know.
I'm not... Wait, is that why the Mansons were so disconnected writing-wise? You went full Hemingway?
Yeah. Well, mostly Hemingway. I don't have a whole lot of alcohol left, so I'd be partially on that.
Lynette Fromm was born and raised in California. She was a talented child, joining the Lariats, singing and dancing group. The group would travel to the U.S. and Canada. In her drama class, she befriended a young Phil Hartman. Oh, neat. When her class gave out superlatives, Lynette was voted Personality Plus, which is a terrible, terrible subscription service.
I could see that.
After graduation, Fromm bounced around, attended junior college, and left home after a fight with her father. This series of events led to Fromm meeting Charles Manson at Venice Beach, California. Impressed by Manson, she quickly decided to leave Los Angeles to travel with Charlie and Mary Brunner. Manson took a special liking to Fromm. No one could have her. At Spahn Ranch, Fromm spent most of her time taking care of the 80-year-old blind owner, George Spahn. I did not know that fact. And we just covered 4 full episodes of the Manson family.
I tried to throw some things in there that was not previously discussed.
Really? Because I'm 90% sure Susan Atkins is going to be talking shit in this somewhere.
Somewhere. Keep grading.
She would make squeak-like noises when George ran his hands up her legs, so he dubbed her Squeaky. Really? That's why she was called Squeaky?
Yep.
I knew it had to be a sex thing just because of the community, the
LSD that they were on.
Yeah. She was arrested with other family members at both raids on Spahn and Barker Ranch. During the Tate LaBianca murder trial, Fromm was frequently arrested. The charges ranged from contempt of court, loitering, trespassing on county property, to attempted murder for an LSD-laced hamburger given to Barbara Hoyt in Hawaii. Barbara Hoyt was suspicious of the family after the murders due to their behavior. I think everyone was suspicious of the family after the murders. You can't really go, no, I'm one of the good ones when it's the Manson family murders. Because I believe that's what mostly they were called before I want to say True Crime podcast really started. They were called the Manson family murders, but then it became, let's talk more specifically about it.
Yeah.
So then it became the Sharon Tate murder. Well, Tate murders, I think, was the number one thing, but still. Barbara Hoyt was suspicious of the family after the murders, due to their behavior. Hoyt was arrested with the others in August 16th, 1969 Spahn Ranch raid. A week later, she heard Donald Shorty Shea screaming from behind Spahn Ranch as the family murdered him. See the last episode for that murder. In Death Valley, Barbara overheard Susan Atkins tell Ruth Ann Morehouse that she had killed Sharon Tate, after which Hoyt, along with Sherry Cooper, fled the family. Charles Manson did eventually catch up with the pair at a diner in the town of Ballarat. Ballarat? Ballarat. He would pay for them to come back to L.A., one way or another. In the fall of 1970, Hoyt was on the fence about testifying in the Tate LaBianca trial. The family gave her an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii in return for not testifying against the family. Hoyt took the deal and flew to Hawaii with Ruth Ann Morehouse. On September 9th, Morehouse flew back to L.A. after dosing Hoyt's hamburger with 10 tabs of acid. I thought you said that Squeaky was up for the... Keep reading. When that kicked in, Hoyt freaked out and was brought to the emergency room. Her parents showed up, and it hardened her resolve to testify against Charlie Manson. And that's the end of that crime. Sam forgot about this one. So how did Fromm get linked to the attempted murder, if it was Morehouse that did it?
Because she was part of the planning.
Oh, okay. Fromm followed Manson to his new permanent home in San Quentin. Remember that Manson and the others were sentenced to death before it was converted to life. Fromm was not allowed to visit Manson. 2 years after Hoyt testified, Fromm was arrested for murder. Hey, who'd she murder?
Keep reading.
I'm assuming it has to do with Hoyt. Law enforcement were reluctant to release her when they were almost sure that she was not involved. On January 4th, she was released the day after charges were dropped. LAPD picked her up for a robbery of a 7-Eleven in October 1972. Sam believes Squeaky was in jail in October. As in, she got picked up for the robbery and was in jail throughout October? Okay. Anyway, she was ultimately released when the actual robber was found. Even after the eyewitness stated the robber did not have an X on her forehead, At this point, the family was truly falling apart without Manson there to dictate everything. And Fromm truly had no idea what to do. Before the end of the year, Fromm, along with Sarah Good, followed Manson to Folsom Prison once his sentence was converted. Too bad they let him live. In Sacramento, California, the woman became obsessed with protecting the environment. Manson, from jail, created the Order of the Rainbow. Each remaining Manson girl was given a color name. Fromm became Red. See last episode to know more about Sarah Good from this angle. The new religion was different from what the family was allowed to do at Spawn Ranch. The girls now weren't allowed to smoke, have sex, or watch movies with violence that sets thoughts to death and confusion. Were they allowed to listen to angry music like Hootie and the Blowfish?
No.
Fromm and Good started the International People's Court of Retribution, a fictitious terrorist group. Why fictitious?
Keep reading.
Because... Okay. A fictitious terrorist group that would assassinate executives and CEOs of companies that polluted the earth. The two sent out hundreds of threatening letters that claimed that there were thousands of members in the terrorist group just waiting to kill. Fromm found out that President Gerald Ford was coming to town. On September 5th, 1975, with a loaded Colt 45 handgun on her leg, Fromm went to Capitol Park. Sam has to be there.
Sam has been there.
Sam has been there. The day of?
No.
You were in the crowd? About a decade before you were born?
Yep.
I mean, a little bit more than a decade, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Because it was in September, so 11 years and 2 months.
Something like that.
Anyways, Sam's been there. It's pretty in the middle of the city, she thinks.
I think it's the Capitol Park I've been to. It sounds familiar, and I think I've driven around it. It's pretty.
As Ford came down the path, Squeaky pulled the gun. Immediately, Secret Service men took her down. Ford walked away unharmed. You know, had we been doing this show when you went to California, there would have been a lot of really cool B-roll that you could have gotten.
Yep.
How dare you? You guys need to go back to California.
It's on our list of things to do. Ezra wants to go across the country.
Yeah, well. Fromm tried to represent herself, but that was quickly squashed. In late November 1975, she was convicted by jury for attempted assassination of a sitting U.S. president. At sentencing, she threw an apple at the U.S. attorney. Interesting approach. Good defense. Go on the attack.
Yep.
To be fair, I also, depending on which U.S. attorney, there's many I would like to throw apples at. She was then sentenced to life. Sam would have thrown an apple too if they allowed food and water in the courtroom. Wait, you're right. She didn't smuggle it in or anything. It was there.
Yep.
It was the 70s.
It was the 70s.
Once in jail, she could not behave behind bars. She was convicted for the terrorist plan. Again, see last episode. She met with Sandra Good. Sarah Good's a witch.
Yes, she is.
No, that was you did the same thing.
I did it last time where I'm like, no, Sarah Good's the witch.
She met up with Sandra Good. In March of 79, Fromm attacked Julianne Busick, who was imprisoned for the 1976 plane hijacking, with the claw end of a hammer. Oh, neat. She received 15 months added to her life sentence. That is just a waste of time.
I know, right?
That really is just one of those things. Hey, be careful. You might have to spend more time here in the afterlife.
I asked them, what do they do? Put the bodies underneath the ground and make them,
On December 23rd, 1987, the world found out about Manson's cancer diagnosis. Fromm escaped jail and was picked up a few miles away after 2 days of searching. She was released on August 16th, 2009. She, at the last time we checked, lives here in Oneida County. She could not find out about her leaving the area. But then again, we also, should we say where she was probably living? No, let's not.
She worked at Walmart.
I know. I bet you think that was the only assassination attempt on President Gerald Ford. If you paid attention in school, if they teach this anymore, you would know that 17 days after Squeaky failed to kill him, another attempt was made. Oh, see, this is why I always think it was two people who tried, and why I always assumed it was a Manson family thing.
Yep.
besides Squeaky being a Manson girl. Sarah Jane Moore attempted to kill Ford in Union Square in San Francisco on September 22nd. Moore was a self-proclaimed far-left revolutionary. She had no hard feelings against Ford personally, but according to her statements, she wanted symbolic political violence. Her statement supposedly wanted to draw attention to social injustice. Hey, is she a Dem or a Rep? Sam can't remember who's left and who's right anymore. Were you drunk, or do you need me to actually explain that one?
Yeah, I'm having I had a moment where I couldn't remember who's left, who was right, and they're all fucking stupid.
They are. But that's actually sort of the thing. It's like, some people, most assassins...
Yeah, it sucks to be them.
Most political violence is done generally by people who have a right-leaning thing, because left-leaning is generally less violent. Like, less... Let's start with shooting.
Okay.
Like, even when the Black Panthers were roaming around their streets with guns. Thus, the NRA finally turned around and said, actually, you know what? Maybe not everyone should have guns. Give it to the black people. Whitey decides, oh shit, we're wrong. So anyways, after the 15,000th death this year from guns, she says she identifies as a far left revolutionary. However, I think had it been, because Gerald Ford was a Republican, right? No, he was minority leader, so he had to have been
no.
Dem.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
minority leader. You can be the minority leader if it's a Democrat or Democratic Congress.
Oh, that's true. If that is on a congressional level, not a who's president level, isn't it?
Right.
That's fair. Point is, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I would assume that he's a Democrat because of how great he is, but he also would technically embody what Republicans want.
Well, the thing is that...
Was he a good Republican or a good Dem?
I don't know. I don't know.
The point is the reason that she said that she was far left revolutionary, especially in the 70s, the 80s, is because we still had the notion that Russia equaled leftism and liberalism. Like, Russia equals communism equals leftism. It's something that you can see right now with a lot of people who think, hey, our tax dollars should go towards feeding people who can't afford food, despite the fact that most of the people on food stamps are working class people. Instead of bombing Venezuela.
We didn't have bomb money.
We didn't have bomb money, okay? We didn't even have McDonald's money.
We don't have bomb money. We don't have ICE money. We don't have... What else have we done?
Oh, no, we have those monies now that, they cut literally all soft power the U.S. had globally, because Donald Trump doesn't understand that his dick... It doesn't matter if his dick's 2 inches long. It mattered that he raped fucking children. Anywho, point is. I think she said she was a far left revolutionary because at the time it was still a stigma of Russia equals communism, equals bad, equals left.
Right.
Whereas now, most of the political violence is right-leaning people, as it actually always has been, but they still try and equate, liberals equal communism, equal bad, equal, clearly they're the ones who kill people.
So, anyways, finish up about her.
All right. Oh, shit. Moore had some mental issues. Like we all do. She had erratic behavior and unstable relationships. Like we all do. She bounced around her ideology, suggesting identity instability rather than committing to a single idea. I would argue, at least to me, if she bounces around in her ideology, it's not identity instability. It's, well, one, it could be justifying. Whatever ideology justifies her attitude at the time, she'll jump to it. It's a similar reason why you have so many Christians who are like, let's fucking kill everybody. Because you've got like, wow, Jesus actually says empathy's good. How dare you call it a fucking sin? How dare you call empathy a fucking sin? Months before the attempt, Moore was a part-time snitch for the FBI on radical groups in San Francisco. This dual role had her become more radical. The FBI ended contact with Moore shortly before the shooting. Rumor was that she was unstable. I don't think the rumor was that she was unstable.
At that moment, the rumor was she was unstable.
Actually, I think the rumor at that time was she worked for the FBI who was trying to kill Gerald Ford. I know how rumors go in these circles. Back to the day of the attempt. Oh, right. She just shot him. We're still talking about that. Moore stood about 40 feet away as Ford left St. Francis Hotel, pointing a .38 revolver and firing. A Marine, Oliver Sipple, grabbed Moore's arm at the last second, causing the bullet to miss the president, embedding itself in a wall. A few days earlier, Moore was cleared by the Secret Service as a non-threat. She was only carrying a gun illegally. See, again, I know the conspiracy theories. The Secret Service said, no, she's fine. She was only carrying a gun illegally. She actively attempted to assassinate the sitting U.S. president and worked for the FBI 3 months earlier. There is no way that people did not think that she was a Fed when she tried this.
My personal favorite is the FBI arrested a bunch of FBI people. They were supposed to be infiltrating the white supremacists.
Well, yeah, you have to arrest your undercovers.
No. Everybody who was arrested was undercover. They had nobody who was not.
Now, how many people were actually there undercover and were there who happened to be feds?
Everybody.
I don't believe this story.
I'm telling you.
That is going to be... Write it up. Write it up. We are no longer just doing killings. We are doing heists and everything like that. That is a crime to talk about.
That means I have to... No, I can't talk about that. You can talk about it.
What the hell is our third AJ Files?
I don't know.
Because I said it was something I wanted to talk about. What the fuck was it?
I don't fucking know.
I wrote it down. Where's B. Arthur's head? Where's B? Give me B!
Hold on, if I can't find B, where's the fucking...
Anyways, if you want to know what our schedule looks like, over on our Instagram, we have our loose, I will say loose, calendar, and we used a Golden Girl calendar for it.
December is...
No, we changed it. Because remember, we switched...
Ridgeway,
We switched November... We switched October and November because November was supposed to be the AJ Files, but now that's the Green River Killer.
AJ Files is October, and
yeah,
there's
you
only
only
3
wrote...
episodes, and we only wrote AJ Files.
Okay, so I don't think I actually... You know what? I might cover it. Maybe that's what we'll talk about. Maybe October is going to be White Supremacist Month.
Nah, I'll go over one.
Butch DeFeo wasn't a white supremacist. But that was Halloween related. That doesn't count. Anyways, Moore pled guilty to the attempted assassination of a U.S. president. She was sentenced to life in prison, and she was paroled in 2007. What's the point of life in prison if you get to get parole and release them?
I actually have the things you were put it over here.
Anyways, that's the end of what Sam wrote. Good job. Oh, Boys on the Track! We're redoing the Boys on the Track in October. Spoilers. Anyways, so I actually like how this one works. Like, I always, and like I said before, and even during one of the spots I'm sure you're gonna cut out, is I remember Squeaky trying to kill Gerald Ford, but I always placed it as blue and red.
Right.
Because, and again, you laid it out actually really well. The reason I assumed that it was a Manson thing was there was a former Manson girl who did it. And then because only months later there was a second attempt, I assumed it was
17 days.
17 days after I assumed that it was also linked to Squeaky.
I understand what you're saying.
So it is one of those interesting things that, well, it's interesting. Like, that's all I can really say is that this is one of those things that doesn't happen a lot. Like, sometimes there's cases I know, and I know the overview, so when we go deeper into it, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I already knew that. This is just, confirming things. Because I would say I was 100% wrong in what I remembered about this case. Which makes it really interesting to me, and why I love doing these shows with you.
Because this one, I'll be honest, I didn't know it was 17 days. I'll be honest, when I'm like, give me all the information. I'm pulling information.
I knew that there were 2 assassination attempts.
Right. I didn't know that they were bam
stacked
and bam.
That is stacked on top of each other in the they tried to kill me camp. Unless you're a running candidate who's trying to get sympathy votes. Then anyone around you in the United States with a gun is trying to kill you. Which, guess what? You're in the United States with a gun. We have more guns per capita than we do healthcare.
Do you know that hunting license in Wisconsin is more than what we have in military forces?
Do you know that's why we used to have it where people wouldn't want to invade the U.S.? Because ultimately everyone knew that if you try and do a land invasion of the U.S., the population is so armed. But you also know that's why we used to have gun safety courses in schools.
Oh, Tennessee just passed that law that makes gun safety a mandatory class to graduate.
High five! That's something more countries need, or that more states need.
Do you know how long I've been saying this is what we needed?
Well, and that's something that gun laws is going to be its own bonus episode. Because honestly, it covers a lot of what we've talked about in other cases, as well as some current stuff. But we will not talk about that. I do like that info. Keep that info in your head. You're not going to.
No, actually, it's something that I saw the other day and I wanted to tell you about. Because for as long as I can remember, I've always said to fix the gun control, to actually do gun control.
To fix America right now, you need to add home ec back into schools. You need to pay your teachers more so they can survive.
We need to bring home ec back. We need to increase the arts and the music again.
Yeah.
We need to bring back shop. We need to bring back all the things.
All the life skills that were cut.
Yes.
Because...
And you want to know? Don't blame millennials on this. We were the ones that shit was being cut on. So don't pull this shit. Oh, the millennials fucked up the educational system. That hurts my shoulder.
Get a surgery then.
I did. You were just actually, I think you were hitting a couple of...
Screws?
No, your finger was right there on a surgical scar.
I'm sorry.
Because now my arm is numb, and I don't usually...
No, I think that might be a heart attack. Sam hurt her arm. All she was going was, you suck, you suck, you suck!
All right, that one when we
Thank you, Gerald Ford, for not dying so that I could feel better about my life, or, you know... Actually, Gerald Ford was probably the last president I would legitimately say I liked as a person. Don't get me wrong, Obama was charismatic.
Jimmy Carter.
Oh, Jimmy Carter, you're right. Jimmy Carter's the one that I really like. Gerald Ford I remember as being Homer's friend at the end of Two Bad Neighbors. If you want to hear everything that was just cut, again, please check out our Patreon. We talk about a lot of fun things, like gun laws, and The Simpsons. Not in relation with each other. Anywho, anything else you'd like to say?
This was better than Epstein.
Speaking of, we actually recorded this in between the first two episodes and the last two episodes of our Epstein that you just hopefully listen to all the time. All the time is in the last month.
For the last month.
And now, Sammy, you had your break.
Sigh. All right.
Let's get back to the island.
I don't want to go back to the island.
It's too damn bad.
I'm Sam Rossi.
I'm AJ Carey.
Later, y'all.
Keep on carrying on.
C-A-R-E-Y. Because
Carry On Productions.